I'm a fan of Harry Potter, and this is what I got for Valentine's Day. So I really liked it, and I can't wait to build this. Mind you that, like this, actually in the entire box, it did not say anything about Harry Potter. So I have a gut feeling that probably this is not really licensed by the author. And so it's basically just say it's a magic wand shop, right? But then, like when you go further into it, there are many reference to the book. So this is how it comes in. It's in a very nice box, and it show you, how it looks like when it's built. So let's see what's inside. Okay, we have the instruction book, and I will go through it a little bit later. And I bought the one that has a dust cover. So these are the pieces for the dust cover, and these are the key pieces, for the base. And then we also have a pretty elaborate piece for all the wood pieces. These are all this that we will cut out. And then we also have these pieces are for all the details that we'll put in. I think this is an improvement because in the past, when I have a dollhouse set, a lot of times these I have to cut out and I have to find some glue to put it on. But then I think, some of these may be sticky, kind of like a self stick. Let me just see. And with not, I'll have to use glue to do that. But then one way or the other, I thought, oh yeah, this is it. I mean, not all of them. Some of them I still need to use glue, because you can see from the back that, I probably still need to use glue to put that on. But then on these are kind of like labels for some of the books. And it looks like that they gave me a self-stick, kind of like making it into stickers. So I think it may be easier to do this piece. I thought the whole thing is all of them are in sticker, but apparently not. So these I still need to actually glue them in separately one by one, but then these I can do it with stickers. So at least there's a slight improvement. I thought the whole thing is, but oh well. Yeah. And then on the various pieces, then these are all the ones for the details. And they also give you a little bit of light bulbs so you can light up the wand shop. There's no music box in this one. And a lot of the things are actually quite detailed. One interesting thing is, for this particular window, because the way the woods are cut, in order to hide some of the marks that is kind of not really painted with green. So they gave me a little bit of green paint and a little brush so I can do that as well. So I can't wait to get it started. And what I do is I actually do not record, how all these little things are built. What I do is I will build them and then we'll come back and see how it looks like. The reason is because I actually truly enjoy the process and I rather have the camera off and like just in case if I screw up multiple times. And then I'm sure that if you want to see the step-by-step of how these individual ones are built, there are honestly multiple videos online that you can find that there are many hobbyists that would do that and you can see that. But then I just want to enjoy the process, so I will be doing all this, and when I finish, before I put the whole thing together, I'll show you how that looked like. And then I can't wait to get it started. What I plan to do, some of the things that I plan to do is to adjust various things. For starters, let me see if I can find that one. Okay, yeah. This little one, this is a little white owl standing on a kind of like a plaque. I don't like the owl being in cardboard. I would like it to be a real one. So I plan to use polymer clay to do that one. All right. And then there is a kind of like a talking head. Let me see. Okay, this one. This one in the book, you know that this is a head that kind of talk, and so you can when you put the head onto the head of the student, then the head would kind of read the mind and then tell you whether you belong to the house of Gryffindor or Slytherin. And so, you know, this one is actually made of paper, printed paper. It's nice, but then I plan to see if I can use some, find some fabric and make it actually into a cloth one. So that's one change. The owl is the second change. And then I think there's also a broom that probably, yeah, here, right here. There's a broom that Harry will use for the Squeak game. And this also is only a piece of wood with stickers. So I would like to see, you know, like if I can change the lower part and make it into kind of a little bit more interesting, more realistic, but I haven't decided exactly how to do it yet. But then, you know, those are the things that I want to change a little bit because I think to make it more realistic. And then on the card, I also want to adjust it slightly because I think, you know, some of the wooden part are being seen and it look kind of a little bit rustic. Um, um, I would like to refine it a little bit. So maybe I'll paint it or maybe I'll use a different material. I haven't decided yet, but then I'll probably go back to the book and maybe even to the movie videos and see what kind of inspiration I can get to improve the card. But then, you know, like a lot of the other ones, actually, they are pretty nice. The wand are good, you know, the potions and all those little items, I think they are very well designed, so I will probably stick with that. And I can't wait to get started. And when I have all the little parts done, I will show you what they look like and we'll put it together. Okay, bye-bye. Hi. No, we already talked about the introduction of the Magic House, which is kind of Harry Potter. So what we are going to do now is we are going to put that together and I'll show you what I have built so far. What I usually like to do is because I'm actually a slow starter on doing miniature things, so it would take me a long time to do that, and I enjoy doing that in the evenings and, you know, do maybe a few of this and that, you know, an evening and then go back to my painting and things like that. So it takes me a long time to do that and I don't bother recording that. But what I am going to show you is all the little parts that I put together, and before I stuck them all into the finished product, I want to show you what I have. So here it is. Okay, so now we get back to our instruction book first. You know, the instruction books, as we have already, you know, seen it a little bit, so we can skip to the pages that we start building the stuff. All right, so yeah, let's see if we can get closer. All right, so according to the instructions, we are going to, you know, like put the things out. And then I have to say that I really appreciate this particular set because in some other set that I've been working on, I have to actually use a pair of scissors and cut them all out. But you see that these are actually, there's like a die cut on the edges already. So all I need is to get a utility knife and then just open up some of the hinges, and then the part would fall out, and it really saved me a lot of cutting. So most of them are like that, so I can save a lot of cutting. And then of course, you know, you really don't want to cut them all together because it's hard to kind of differentiate them once they're all cut out. So usually I only cut them out when I need to. But then, you know, I really appreciate this particular set that has these pre-cut edges. And then another one is, of course, you know, some of them I simply to fold them and wrap them or, you know, do certain things to it. And it also comes with two of the sticker sheets. And as you can see, these are actually stickers. And these, you know, you may not but these are stickers. So all I need to do is when I'm going to use this, I just, use a utility knife. I usually use a utility knife to kind of like help me lift it up. And then what I also have is actually a tweezer. So I can easily take this out and then stuck it onto, like the piece of wood or some other design that I need to do. But then with this and this, I can easily do that. And it also saved me a lot of time then to have the paper and then apply glue to it and then stick it onto the item I need to do. So that also saved me a lot of time, which I truly appreciate as well. So that's that. Put that away. All right. So now let's get back to what we are doing. And then according to the instructions, they gave us, pieces of newspaper or what have you that kind of look like this. And then the instruction is to roll it up in with a small item, cynical item. And then I have tried, this little stick, but then what I find is a little bit too wide. So what I did is I actually got a piece of toothpick, a wooden toothpick it's actually in my kitchen. People don't use toothpicks anymore. We have frosting that we can use. So toothpicks, I actually use it when I'm baking a cake because I always like to test whether the cake is completely done with a toothpick. So basically, I just roll that up, and if you like, you can tighten it a little bit more because when I use this one, it's become a little bit wide. So this is, the ones that I have that is kind of rolled up, right? And then, of course, for the little books, basically they have all these little pieces of wood, and then I just stick the sticker onto it, and then they will become books like this. So the width of the wood will become the width of the thickness of the book, and then we'll kind of have the back and front cover. And of course, various book is kind of like accordion. So you just fold them up, glue them together, and they become little books like here. So let's see what we have here. These. So what I did is I actually, following the instruction, I made this. So let me see. Okay, so this is this one. Okay. This is for the little card because in the set, besides the shop, we actually have a little card. And if you are a Harry Potter fan, you will know that this is the card that Harry pushed through platform 9 3/4 with his belongings to go to the school. So here is the card, and let's look at the items in the card. So here, I have, this is the little magic bottle, and this is the small magic bottle, right? And I have to say that they are pretty cute. They basically use a bead, and this is actually the reverse of a small screw. You can see that it's actually a small screw, and then there's another piece of bead. So it does look like a little magic bottle. So I have a big magic bottle, a little magic bottle. And then for the wand, so we use a piece of wire. We put various, additional wiring to it, and then use a piece of foil to cover it. And this is the item that I made from this, which looks, I have to say, is pretty cool, pretty ingenious. Yeah. And then, of course, I made a little box, and then the box would become a little kind of briefcase or the luggage for Harry. Right? And then we put the book on top of it. So this is what I made. Okay. And then we have the broom. We have a map. And if you are the fan, you will know that what it's for. This is the map. You are up to no good, right? And then, of course, various newspaper. Yeah, so newspaper. And then this particular one is actually kind of like a letter bag. on the back of the card. Another thing that I did is the card came in the wood, the natural wood color. And so it will look like this. I do not really like it that much. I went online to confirm what does the card look like, and it's kind of metal. So what I did is I actually find some acrylic paint and I mix silver with a kind of like a yellow ochre. So I make kind of like a dirty silver color. And so I actually color the entire all the wood segment with this dirty silver acrylic. And I do like it a lot. I think it looks a lot better than this, right? So I made that according to the instructions. So this is the resultant card that I made, right? And then on the back, there's a little bag that has the Harry's kind of like a mission letter. So we can put this together. Let's see, I have kind of gathered the little items that is in this card. So let's put this together. So yeah. Right. So make sure. And you can use, like whatever glue you want because the packet doesn't come with the glue. So whatever is handy to you. I have used Emmons glue, and in some item I use the kind of like multi-purpose adhesive, and it really depends on what you are looking for. And the multi-purpose adhesive can get a small bead out, which I like. But then it can also stick to your finger and become a little bit messy. And the Emmons glue doesn't dry that quickly. By the way, I mean, it doesn't come in this jar, but I just put it in this jar. And so I have my glue and I have my little card. I'm going to put it in a similar pattern as this one. So I have my card. And the first thing I do, let's see, I put my luggage, which I've already stuck the book onto it. So yeah, look like this. That looks good. So, if you want it to be permanent, you can always just maybe add a little bit of glue here and then stuck it at an angle, maybe. All right. I'll put the boom on a little bit later. So I do have a few pieces of straw and also some newspaper. So let's see. Maybe I have a little bit of nail. It's like that. That is, for the school. And then I have, see, the interesting thing is if you really look, this is really from the Harry Potter story. This is the daily proverbs and that say the boy who lives, right? So it's kind of interesting. So here, I'll put it diagonal to each other. Doesn't have to be exact, If you like, you can use your tweezer to help you in the placement. It does not really matter. You just want it to look like is something that you can enjoy looking at a little bit later. All right. And then I'm going to put, according to the instructions, I have like the magic bottle also kind of scattered all around. As I say, it doesn't have to be exact. I have a big magic bottle here. Probably doesn't want to stay. And then I have a small magic bottle, and it could be sideways, so it does not matter. I'll just put it this way then. All right. And then I also have the magic wand kind of on top. So I'll just put a little bit of glue so I won't lose it. So maybe like that with the magic bottle kind of stuck here. All right. And then I'll put, like according to this, I have this big book. So I put this big book on the back first. I just want to, just slightly color it. I mean, slightly glue it. I don't want it to be too much glue. So maybe just a little bit of my book here. And then I have my map. Put a little bit of glue so it would not be lost too easily. All right. And then a few postcards. And then another map. So, right. So there you have it. I have my Harry Potter, the little card that he can bring to school. And last but not least, don't forget my broom. So in order for it not to fall out, let me just see. Maybe on this side. All right. So there you have it. I have my little card done. So I can put this away. So this is done. Okay. Okay, let's see what's next. Right. I have what we call the wand cabinet and parts. So first of all, we're going to build the wands, and basically it's two small pieces of wood, and then with the stickers, I put the label on top and also on one side, because the other side you may not see. So I do that, and then I made a good number of them. So I have made, like a good number of them. According to this, there are 2, 5, 6, and 4. So there are a good number of different wands. So there are multiple wands that I made. And then on top of that, there are two books. Let's see, this one and probably somewhere this one. So these two books together. So let's double check. Right. So that looks good. I'm going to stick them a little bit together so it will not fall apart too much. Okay, so these two books, and I've already made this small little picture frame, right? And then also a really teeny tiny also magic bottle again, which is with a bead and some hardware, right? And then here I made like multiple wands. So there's another wands that I made, and of course it's come with kind of like a little supporting box. And I made a cabin, and the cabin was purposely with two slanted shelf case. So we can put them together. So let's see. This is the bottom shelf. So with these two books, we're going to put it on here. So we're going to put this somehow here. I want it to be a little bit out so you can see. All right. I want to press down a little bit. And then I do have kind of like a little letters or what have you, that is kind of on top of it. So let me just put, make it a letter, something like that. And then on here, there is a kind of a map that is folded, which is this one. So let me just stick them in first. Let's see, sounds good. Okay, I don't want it to be too stuck. I want it to kind of flip out a little bit. And then behind it, I have this wand. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue here because I want it to kind of stay inside the cupboard. Let me get my tree. Make it like this. And then I do have the big green bottle, the magic bottle, kind of here. Unless you have small fingers, the tweezer is very helpful. Oh, this probably doesn't want to stand firm, so because I'm tilting it at an angle for you to see, but I'll probably correct it a little bit later. All right, so do that. Stay. Okay. And then we'll put more. Oh, okay. This is the picture frame. Let me see in front of that. Okay. Just a little bit of my almond glue. Come on. Okay. And yeah, 2 pieces of straw. So I have 2 pieces of straw here. One piece. Oh. 2 piece. Oops, something fell off. But let's do that first. 2 piece. And put this back. Okay. And there is also a kind of like an admission letter right here. So this is done. Now we can put all these different ones into it. Although they have all this, like put the gray one and blue one, something like that. So I think we can actually do it randomly. I don't think it matters. So I'm going to just do it according to what I think is cute. That will be a horizontal one. Yeah. You want to make sure that the one that has the label will be seen. Yeah, that looks okay. So basically, putting all this into our second furniture, which is the one cabin done. So I'll do that a little bit later, but this is what I'll put in. So this is done. So we have the cot, we have that, and now let's get to the back cabin. Okay, the back cabin is actually this, right? So I have built that. This is the cabin that I have built, right? One thing I haven't done is the knobs. The knobs I have assembled together, but then you can see that they basically ask you to just stuck it right here. But then, there's no hole, there's no notches to go in. So I probably need to do a little bit of care. And not only do I stuck it, but I have to kind of hold it or stabilize it when it dries before I can move on. So I haven't do that yet, but then I have done all the knobs. So all the knobs are prepared, but I need to work on that a little bit further. But then let's see what else is there. Okay. What else is there? We have this is a magic ball, right? And then this one is a small magic bottle. Very small. Okay. And then they also have a kind of like an oil lamp, which is basically, if you really look at it, is very cool. It's just a bead and then a kind of like a screw, and then you just put it together and then put it upside down. It would look like a oil lamp, which is kind of cool. And then what we have done is we also cut out, various things. So with a cut out of a clock and we add a small wire to it. And then this is cut out of a sign 9 3/4. As you know, that is the platform that Harry went to this, have to use it to go to the school, right? So we have that. And we have, of course, you know what it is. This is the snitch, right? And then a little golden cup, right? A little golden cup. So we have built all that. And this one, these are 3 different ones. And then I have built them and then I put them into this little cabin, kind of like a wand display cabin, right? This one, all right. In the material, they actually gave me this. They gave me the cutout of these 4 different shapes, and then they printed it with, fibers. And basically is to, when you roll it together, then they will kind of look like the like the scholar head or the talking head. I have to say that, yeah, it's nice, but then I decided to actually find a piece of fabric and I cut out the similar shape. I find a fabric that is this kind of khaki color, and then I use a little bit of acrylic paint, and then I also exaggerated the fold a little bit, so it does look like the eyes and mouth, with his talking, right? So instead of the paper one, I actually made a cloth one. So this is something that I kind of follow the shape of this, but then I made it with real cloth, right? So this is the little magic hat that I made, which is different from the instructions. And now we are in the process of putting it together. And we also have, additionally, like little pieces of red blocks that we add beads to it. And then we made a kind of like a little choo-choo train, which is for the platform. So what we are going to do is we're going to put it together. First thing, we're gonna put this on the upper cabin. So here, this is where I'll put it. Yeah. And then I mean, the drying time is different, but then, you know, we will try. So we'll have a little bit of this. On the edge, and then this on the edge. As I say, you know, I'll probably, you know, refine it a little bit because sometimes you do need to hold it to make sure that they don't pop up when it's drying. And then the clock and a letter, an acceptance letter. So my clock is here. All right. And then on the other side, we have this oil lamp and then 3 different books. So let's make sure we have the 3 different books. Okay. Then we can put the books. Just put a little bit of glue on the bottom. And the little lamp. I don't think that. Okay, like that. And then on the second area, we have a piece of newspaper. You see the message? It says Hawthorne School increase security. All right, so if you know the story, you know that's part of the story. Okay, we put one here, and then we put this kind of thing. Make a little bit on the side. I'm going to find the front of the pad, which is this side, and see if I can stuck it kind of here. All right. Like that. And according to this, we put the little stitch right on the head. So maybe like this. And a magic bottle. Kind of on top. make this magic ball kind of on top as well. There. So it's kind of like this, and I'll probably have to put it horizontally to let it dry. And it does not matter if it's wobble a little bit because they are magical things, so they do not have to sit up straight. Okay. All right, so this is done. Stay, don't move. Okay, now let's see what we have. We have another cabin, which is called the counter and parts. And these are the ones, these are the instruction for it. And I have made the counter here. So the first thing we do is actually we make these spectacle, the glasses for Harry, and is basically just a black wire. So I made this little piece of glasses for Harry. And then I also made a magic wand. So I made a magic wand, which is here. Okay. And there's a little magic lamp, all right? So I made that as well. This little magic lamp here. And these are basically just cut out of newspaper and straw that is, for this cabin, right? So these are the key things that I made, plus building the cabin itself, right? So stick it together according to the instructions. So now let's see what we have for the cabin. Okay, we have a little book right here. This is the book that we have put together. And then this book is kind of open. So we are going to stick it on the back. So this is the book that is kind of on the back. And it is open to a particular page. Let's see. How about this? Right. And then there's one more book. So which is on the side. Stay. And we have this wand kind of in front. Okay. And I have one more little book. So I have one more little book. So this is that book. We're gonna put it also on the side as well. Maybe something like that. So we have two books and the one and open book. Now there are newspaper, and then I have prepared them. As I say, they say the boy who lived and things like that. So it's kind of interesting. So we'll put this kind of almost like scattered, like newspaper scattered on the counter. And of course, straws. that are also kind of scattered on the counter. And top of it, we'll put the lamp. So we'll put the lamp. And I have to say that the lamp later we'll put the electric wire to it. So I'll probably not stuck it in right now. And we'll see the other things first. So we'll have maybe will this still be the room for the lamp. There'll be again, more newspaper. And then of course, Harry's glasses. Glasses, yeah. And then I will have the lamp here. And then maybe like, a little bit more straw and paper with the lamp and things like that. But then this is kind of done, right? So this one, counter is done. Now we have another one. As I say, this is a very elaborate dollhouse set. This one is called the short cabin and parts. Okay, so which is the short cabin? The short cabin is this one. So this one, as I say again, the black wire, there's no notches or things like that. I just have to glue them together, and it's hard to hold them in place when the glue is still wet. And so I have to do it one at a time. So this one has not been done yet, but then this is what I will be making. And we have the picture frame. We also have 2 books and a straw. So we have put them together already. And then let's see the magic bottle. We have again a big magic bottle, a green magic bottle. And then this one is interesting. This one is actually kind of like a candle. And let me just hold it. And it's just a bead with, as I say, again, it's a screw. But then I really appreciate them, making it does look like a little candle. Yeah. All right. And then there are 2 things. This one is the golden cup. And this one is a golden cup again. So 2 different golden cup. And then I also have, like 2 books. And we have a bead on top because we are going to put a wand on top of it later. And then I have made this, which is 3 different displays wand. All right. And these are here. Done that already. And I also made a kind of like a luggage with leather belt. And I already put the books and newspaper on top. And in this particular cabin, kind of like a map, I have already stuck, various things on top of it. Let's see. So I've stuck, like a good number of things on top according to the instruction, including a wand. So this is it, right? And then this is the cabin that we have built. So basically, we are going to place our things onto the cabin. So let's see. Okay, instead of starting from the top, let me start from the bottom. I'm going to place my first of all, my little luggage, right, onto it. So I'm going to stick a little glue on the bottom. So I can put my luggage, let's see, somewhere here. All right. And then, let me see. I have the candlestick. Oops. Yeah, I'm actually using almond glue. Almond glue, take a little bit to dry. So, and then they also put a little, just a white ball. So I'll put that white ball, which is a bead right here. So I don't want the hole to show. Okay, so the bottom is done. And then the top one, let me just make the things that I need to do first. Okay. I have this bowl, I have this book, and then the picture frame and scroll. Okay. So let me just put this books, stack of books onto here. Maybe at an angle. All right. And then the golden cup. I have to say at an angle, since I haven't dried it, have a tendency to fall down. Does it look like this, right? Let's stay. And then on top, there are these, let's see. Okay, this is on top here. And I have to put a wand here. I haven't made that yet. We have an empty bottle. And golden cup. Oops. Right. Kind of like this. So I have to make sure it's upright when it's drying, otherwise it will all topple. So move this aside to dry. Okay. There you go. Now let's see what else do we have. These are items for the long window and the round window. So let me just show you what they are. So here, there are multiple boxes on the long window, and I have already made them. They are basically these little boxes, and you just need to just fold them together and make them into little boxes. They look like kind of luggage or mail, all right? Because in the story, as you know, like since they live in a dorm, the family will send them packages, right? And then we have some papers. We also have magic bottle again. So we have these two magic bottles here. And then what I also made is there are different stands for wands. So we made them. And then there's a stack of book here. And then I have also made a kind of like a little lamp. And this is for the window, right? This one is interesting. We cut up this decorative items, and then we open a book and stuck it in. So it does look like a stand for a book, which I think is kind of a cool idea, right? So a stand for a book. And of course, we make a little bit more wands. So here, these are the ones for the long windows, right here. And then these are the ones for what we call the semicircle window. And let's see what we have. We have books and a map. So this is the book and a map, right? And of course, various things that are like the letters, and then the Harry Potter newspaper, various roads that we have. And of course, magic bottles again. And then this is kind of like a magic ball. So we put a stack of books, and then we have the upside down hardware, and then we put these little beads into the ball. So we have kind of like a crystal ball, magic ball. And this is kind of like a medicine furnace. And so we have two beads. We have a little bit of a golden ball and things like that. So I made this little ball, right? And of course, like we have the sign. This is the magic wand sign. This is the one with the owl. And of course, making more of the magic wand. Magic wand, make more. And a stand with an owl on it. More wand. And then a display case for the wand, right? So we have that over here, like that. And now we're going to look at the house itself, or the shop itself, right? So yeah, this is basically the base for the shop. So I've already done that. I have put the backing onto the paper onto the board, the supporting board, and then I also stuck the wall together. So this is kind of like a base for it. This one will be what we will eventually put the wire and the electric hardware here. So that's why it's an opening here, right? So that's that. So this is the base, right? And now here is the kind of like the more elaborate part. This one, I honestly have to say that it's not easy to make. We do it one by one, a window by window. building it one by one. They give us an option to whether to color some of it green or leave it exposed, because without coloring it, some of the parts when they color it is actually the wood color. And of course, with the laser print, laser cut burn mark, but then, on the edge, it would have this kind of like a brownish tone, which some people like, but I have to say that it looked a little bit rustic. So I decided to actually paint over. So not only paint over the semicircle window, I actually paint over like a lot of edges that they didn't ask me to, but then I think it looks better. So I did paint over, a lot of the edges. So I did that. And then I built the circular window, the steps, the door. The interesting about the door is it's pretty nice. It has a handle. You see that? A little wire for a handle. And because it did give me the hardware, so I can actually open this. So which I think is really neat. I can open this. It's pretty neat. I like it. Yeah. I also appreciate this. Some of them are, like a paper, but then some of them are little stickers. So it's easy to put them on, right? And you do have to use a clamp to hold them together. So it does take a little bit of time to stick them together. So I built this all together. And now what we can do is we can actually assemble the windows. Okay, this is the circular window and this is the long window. So for the circular window, we're actually doing it from the back. It may be easier from the back. So the circular window is, let me see, I think it's this one. Right. So we'll do as much as we can. Okay, so this one is this. And then this is the Harry Potter newsletter. So we probably want to stick it onto the table. So let me just see if I can show you more. There. So here. Like that. Like this. All right. And then I can put a wand, which is this one. It has a displays, which look kind of nice. And I'm going to stick it on top of the newspaper. Because I also don't want to cover the word Harry Potter right here. Okay, and then I'm going to put the furnace here, and then my stack of books. And then this is the stack of book with the crystal ball. And it will be right here. And then I have this stand with the owl right here. Mm. this one will be on top. This. And then maybe a little bit of straw. Maybe one here. So turn it around. So this is how it looks like right here. Okay. Right. So I'll probably wait for it to dry a little bit before I do much to it. Okay. Just don't want it to stick out too much outside the window. Okay. Now we're going to do the long window. The long window, we're going to do it from here. And first of all, there are multiple parcels, right? So let's see. Let me see. I think it looks better with I put all the parcel here. Let's see. Oh, this way. Okay. What do I have? Okay, I have multiple parcels right here. I'm not going to worry about, like which parcel is what. Okay. Let me see. And then I have the blue bottle kind of sideways here. Okay. And then I have the lamb on top of one of the parcel. Okay. And then one of the wand is being displayed here. Okay. Let's see. And then we have a stack of book here. Let's see what angle like this. All right. How about like that? Okay. And then I have this book displays. Kind of in the back of the wand. and then additional parcel. Something like that here. Like that. All right. Oh, okay. Actually, there is oh, there's a piece of paper here. That looks kind of good. Okay. So, okay. According to the instructions, I'm going to put a kind of like hinges between this one and this one. And then after that, like also build more of the one on the circular display window and right here, yeah. But then I have to say that I'm actually going to skip that for now because it will probably take me a little bit of time, especially I have to say that when it comes to electric things, it takes me a few tries to get it right. So I'm not going to embarrass myself on the camera. But then basically, this is what I already made. I have made additional books, and then these will be on top of the circular window. And then with the lights, some of the light will actually be light up, illuminate some of the books. So I have that already, kind of prepared, but then I need to work on the wiring, right? But let's see, before I put them together, because I also know that, like putting the screw and the wire together will take a little bit of time. But then this will be what we have. Let me just show you. All right. We have for the front, the white background. Okay. Yeah. For the front, in the circular window, you have, like various items, the one and the R. And on the long window, you have packages and you have magic bottles, and of course, more wands and packages. And the door does open, right? So, and then a little bit later, we'll have lights coming down from the top, right? So, and then on the back is the store. And we have already put some of these together. So we'll have this cabin, which will be on this side. And then the cabin with the head and also the 9 3/4 platform will be here, because what we have planned is the cupboard also cover the kind of like the battery for our lights here. So that would be the cabin, right? And then on top, we have the short cabin, oops, which we have kind of made a little bit earlier, which is this one, all right? And then we'll put this one kind of on the counter right in front of the cabin. Somewhere here, you can move it around if you want. And when I put together, this will be the one shop, and then I think it opens on this end like this. But I will have to probably go back and work on putting all this together, double check there's all these contents, And as we said, some of these things, because I just put them on, it takes a little bit of time to for the glue to stick. And when it's drying, you want them to not topple, because otherwise they may be tilted when it dries. But of course, this is a magic shop, so things are tilted, which is fine. But I'll be back on this. So I'll see you in a little bit. I have continued working on the magic wand shop for a few more days, and here is what we completed. So let's take a look. All right, last time where we ended, we put all the things onto the front window. And of course, we have finished the putting the things into the cupboard. So let's take a look again. So what I have done is I have put, like more, like take a closer look. Okay. There. So I have put more of the wand boxes onto this cupboard, and I've stuck it onto this corner. And I've also added buttons for the drawer. And then on this side, this little drawer, this little one, I also stuck it onto the right-hand side of this shop, added the lamp, and then also put this onto the back. And then the cupboard. The cupboard I actually did not glue it on because I think it's easier for me to change the batteries and fix any of the wiring problems. So instead of having it permanently attached, I decided not to stuck it there. But then you can see I have finished sticking the books and the lamp and like all the different items onto this. And I have to say that I'm really proud that I, instead of using the paper one, I actually use a cloth to make that hat, which I really like. So that's that. And then another thing is I have also finished, like doing the wiring. Technically, according to the instruction, this wire come out from here, and then I will permanently attach this onto the front. But then I really like to be able to open this, look at, like admire all the little items here. So I decided not to have it permanently stuck, but let me just put that back here. Okay. And then on this particular one, you see I have, like put all the different items. The only thing left is actually this lamp. Because of the wire, it's around this. Okay, yeah. And there's also, these hairy spectacles. Don't move. See here. And then there's also an extra ladder. So I'll put it there, here. And other things that I have done is I added, like various stickers to beautify the rest of the shore fronts. And then other things that I have done is to add, different signs, right? And then another thing is in the back. In the back, what they have provided me is this piece of wood that they have a little bit of markings on it, but then it's this color, and I don't like it because I think it's too big a contrast with the wall. So I actually used acrylic paint and I painted it to be kind of like more like a darker wood color, right? So here. What I also did is I added little grass to kind of disguise the backing. And I have added, like hardware, so this become like being able to open and close. So let's see if I can turn on the lights. And I'll switch the look so you can see how it looks like. This is how the shop looks like now. And this is the little cards. And as I show you, I have colored it so it look more like the color of the metal instead of, you know, wood color here. So I really like this one. Okay. And then, you know, supposedly I can stick it right here, but I also, you know, decided not to do it because I want to be able to, you know, like look at it if I like to. And let's see if I can get it focused. Not really. Let me see. How about this? Okay. So this is the shop when it's lighted. There are various lights around here in the entranceway and also, you know, like in the back, right? And in the storefront, of course, you can see various books and wands, right? And then when you open it, oops, see there. Oh, but let's look at this one first. Okay. So you can see the back of the shop. And this is the one with the letter. Let's look this up. Okay. So you have the shop. Oops. Come on, right there. And the couplet, and of course the lamb technically staying on top. Oh, we'll leave it that way. But this is the Magic Wand Shop, unlicensed Harry Potter inspired. Yeah, okay. There you go. All right. So there you have it, my Magic Wand Shop inspired by Harry Potter. There you go. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.